Do you want to dive into all those beautiful orange and yellow vegetables that are in season right now? Let's make some soup. If it's cold where you are or cool and you want something soothing, if you just have a couple of items in your pantry, you can make this beautiful, flavorful, rich, healthy lentil and sweet potato soup. Basically, you need a sweet potato or yam and some red lentils. And then the rest of it is pretty much things that you would probably have in your pantry. Now, this recipe is very simple, it's very basic, and I, of course, made some changes and some additions to give it a little more spice and to give it a little more zing. It can be vegan or not, depending on what kind of milk, fat, and broth you use, and you can even use water if you don't have broth. In fact, the original recipe is vegan, and I will link that below in the description, and I will also write out any changes that I made to it. Yeah, so it's very flexible. The one thing I will say is don't leave out the orange zest. That just takes it over the top. And if you're getting tired of seeing pumpkin spice this and that everywhere you go, then definitely stick around for this one, because this one doesn't use any pumpkin pie spices at all. So yeah, grab a yam and let's make some soup. All right, so we've got red lentils right here. This is about 2 pounds of chopped sweet potato or yams. These are actually yams. And then because I had some extra carrots, at least one that was starting to go a little bad, I cut it up and put it in here too. Neutral oil, and you can use either coconut oil or, like I'm using here, grapeseed oil. And then everything else is spices, and I'm not sure, I've got a lot of spices here. Let's back here for a second. Salt and pepper. But I've got a lot of spices because I'm not sure how I'm going to season this. The basic recipe doesn't have anything in it other than turmeric. That's the only spice, along with salt and pepper. And that's not going to cut it for me. I need more. So I've got ginger and little cayenne, smoked paprika, some garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, along with the turmeric. So we'll see. We'll just figure it out as we go along. I'm using an enamel-coated cast iron pan, and the first thing I'm going to do is add about a tablespoon of the oil and let that heat up for a few seconds. The oil is just starting to shimmer, so I'm going to put in the sweet potatoes and the carrots. I'm going to stir it up a little bit so that they get coated in the oil. And then we're going to let these go on medium-high heat for about 10 minutes. While that's going on, take a look at this. This is an almond flour pumpkin bread that I made this morning from this box mix from Simple Mills. It has really good ingredients, whole food ingredients, and only about 6 grams of added sugar per serving, which is not too bad. And you only add eggs, water, and oil. Stir and bake. It's delicious, and look at the texture. This tastes pumpkin-y and spicy and will definitely satisfy your pumpkin spice cravings. These are starting to get soft, and you can see the bottom is getting that nice caramelized coating. I'm going to add the spices in now. Here's the mix, and it's basically, I ended up using half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then about 1/8 of a teaspoon of each, the paprika and cumin. So I just want those to hit the heat a little bit so that they can bloom and do their thing. We're using red lentils in this recipe, and red lentils have a much milder flavor than the green or brown variety, and they cook up a lot faster. For the liquid, I'm using this rich, gelatinous, homemade bone broth diluted with water. You can use chicken broth, vegetable broth, or even just water for the liquid. Want to make sure the lentils are submerged. This is going to cook on low heat for about 20 minutes, and I'll cover it so that the liquid doesn't evaporate off. Almost forgot, I need to add some salt. I'm going to add about 1/4 teaspoon. And make it 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, look at that. The lentils are cooked. It's thick. The liquid is thickened up. And so what we're going to do now is puree this. We're going old school and using a blender with a glass carafe. You can also, if you have an immersion blender, you can just puree it right in the pot. Also, you can skip this step and just eat this the way it is. The smell is amazing. Okay, I'm going to leave a little bit of it chunky. So I'm going to leave a little bit in there. Because it's steaming hot, I'm going to remove this and just all right, last thing we're going to do is get a little orange zest in here. This is me playing around again, but I think the orange is just going to make it really pop. It needs a little more, I tasted it, it needs a little more seasoning, so a bit more salt, pepper, and milk. And this is half and half. You can use coconut milk, almond milk, whatever you like. Just whatever milk you have around. This is just going to give it a little extra creaminess. It also thins it out a little bit. I'm really glad I left part of it unpureed. It just gives it a really nice texture. The added orange zest took it right over the top. It's really good. If you're craving those orange vegetables that are so abundant right now, this is a really good start. Loaded with vitamin A, protein, fat. It's just so satisfying. When I get through eating, I will link the recipe in the description bar below, along with the changes that I made. The recipe itself is very easy. It's also vegan, and it only uses things that you probably already have in your pantry. I added to it a little bit, but I'll put all the info down in the description, because you really, look at that orange color. You really need to try this. It's delicious. I can't stop. And it's not pumpkin spice. It's something completely different. This has a flavor profile that's more like Northern Africa than the regular pumpkin spice. So if you're sick of pumpkin spice, this is definitely right up your, that will be right up your alley. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you won't miss my next one. Go out and make some soup, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye!